All right, well, we're doing it, folks. We're doing it. Welcome back to another episode of the Bordello. Italy, Israel. We're going to do it. We're going to tackle it. We're going to talk about it. I've put it off enough. I've been dreading having to sit down and express my actual real thoughts that have come into my head over the course of the past couple of days since the game happened, and try to express it in a relatively coherent way that wouldn't infuriate anyone.
All right, what's going on, folks? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another episode of the Bordello. I'm going to ask that you guys all do the bare minimum here and subscribe to this show if you haven't, and leave a like on the video if you haven't. We need to fucking do whatever we can to try to boost the show, but it's especially important this week because I think we're going to get into some murky waters, and I've been putting off this episode. I've been dreading thinking about the prospect of saying on the pod all the things that I've been thinking this past week. Like, oh boy, that's really where your head's at on that one. Oh, fuck, if you say that in public, there are going to be people that maybe turn on you. And I'm not trying to be that guy to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble if I say this is too hot for TV. It's genuinely how I've been thinking the past couple of days when deliberating over when to sit down and finally brain dump everything that I've been thinking after the Italy-Israel game in Udine in the Nations League a couple of days ago. Like, I think like this is a sacrificial, I'm offering myself as a sacrificial lamb here to kind of brain dump what I've been thinking over the past couple of days, things I've sort of been observing, in the hope that maybe it'll be cathartic for however many or few people tune into this, but with the understanding that it seems to go against like most everything I'm seeing online. Now, again, that's on me. That's kind of on me. If I think that what everyone posts online is, indicative of what everyone is feeling, but at least it's a bit of a barometer. It's a bit of a gauger, a temperature gauge on where people's mind is at. Before we get into it this week, let's try to remember that, it's not a good idea to maybe take seriously anything that a person wearing these sunglasses speaking alone by himself, to himself. Well, I mean, I guess I'm speaking to you guys, but, optically, there's no one else here. I'm talking to the camera by myself. You're going to take me seriously? You're going to fucking take what I say to heart? I don't know. That's kind of on you. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm out here, I'm really just a crazy guy with a fucking microphone and a camera and an internet connection. Like I could just fucking be a nut. I could be a nut who falls off the deep end and goes on a murderous, suicidal spree, for all you know. This could be a manifesto. I mean, again, like I get that the humble few people that are listening to this have kind of been around for a while generally, and they've checked in periodically, so they kind of understand the body of work, and they understand what this is, and they understand the tone of this pod. But in theory, hypothetically, there's no real difference between, what you're watching now, me, right? This attempt at, brain dumping, in a hopefully entertaining comedic fashion. There's really no difference between this, I guess, on paper, and a guy posting a manifesto on Facebook before he runs a van, through the streets of Barcelona. So take everything you hear from me with a grain of salt. If you don't agree with it, just say the guy's nuts. Why am I taking anything he says seriously? So, and much of the controversy, it would appear, seems to be rooted in the fact that A lot of people don't even think that Israel should have been allowed to play Italy. Now, that's a weird one for me. Italy have played a couple of Nations League games already in the campaign. It's been going very well. And Italy had a bad Euro in the summer. And just from a pure footballing standpoint, it's important that the Italian national team bounce back and try to gain confidence, experiment with new players, let their relatively, new coach kind of get his footing, which is what the Italian Football Federation decided he would have the chance to do after failing at the Euro. Get his footing and try something new, try to get a spark going because we have a World Cup coming up. From a footballing standpoint, that's kind of like the insulatory, is that the word insulatory? I don't know, the insulated world of, the people that are decision makers at the Italian Football Federation. They have a job, and their job is, all right, how do we try to curate a good environment? How do we foster a positive environment for us to build a team that'll win? That's really all that their job is. That's what they're paid to do. They're not paid to have an opinion about geopolitics. There's a weird meshing of politics and sport that I guess is to be expected because of the fact that, in sport, especially national team activities and such, patriotism and undercurrent comes in to the equation, and shit gets a little weird. We see stuff become high tension quite often in global sports. This city against that city. New York versus Boston. Whatever. San Francisco against LA. We see it on small scale, city rivalries. Let alone in cases where there's a lot of history tied to national affiliation going into a given game. So I guess it's not that unexpected that there be a certain level of, overlap between sports and politics. But ideally, we really would do well, I would argue, to separate church and state here. Some of the shit I've been seeing people arguing on Twitter in particular, which again, I'm kind of nuts and stupid and a bozo and a potato. I'm a lemon, okay? For even paying attention to anything that I see on Twitter, posted by probably even crazier people than I am, to sit down by myself with these fucking stupid sunglasses on and brain dump to the internet. All right? I get that I'm crazy for doing this. If you're uncovering this pod for the first time, you might say, this guy's fucking nuts. I'm still not as nuts as people that are posting on Twitter. So, but by extension, giving credence to the shit I'm seeing on Twitter kind of makes me a bit of a nut. But it's kind of that's kind of what this whole thing is me looking at what's out there and just brain dumping it for people that consume this. So let's get into some of the shit I've seen people talking about regarding the Israel-Italy game over the past couple of days. I guess am I making of myself a martyr here? Am I will I get killed for the cause of free thought? Perhaps. And I just threw up in my mouth a little bit when I heard myself say that. All right, because it's so self-congratulatory and lame, and that's really not the intent. But this is what it is. It's fucking Israel we're talking about here. So, naturally, it's you kind of have to be a little bit nuts to just come out bold-faced and just say, hey, here's what I think, without giving a little bit of a preemptive sort of preamble to say, all right, here goes. Look, a lot of people are upset that Italy played Israel in the first place. I saw people saying that Italy should have boycotted this game and not acknowledged Israel's existence, I guess, not giving credence to Israel as a state. Now, that's an opinion. That's an opinion that you might have based on shit you've observed, which could be, well-informed or not. It doesn't really matter. You're saying here that Israel the football team, the footballers that put on that jersey and represent that flag, shouldn't be allowed to do that, represent whatever it is their values are, because you don't like what their government is doing. This is a weird kind of precedent that's been set in football now. FIFA banned Russia after the Ukraine thing a couple of years ago, and now there's this weird like precedent where people feel like any country that they don't like the geopolitical actions of, should be banned or could be banned by FIFA, because I guess, hypothetically, it is within their rights to do so. Why even go down that route ever? Like, what do the players have to do with it? Now, by the way, listen, not for nothing, I'm sure a lot of the players are in favor of the exact thing that you may not personally, as a random civilian, as a random citizen of whatever country, you're watching this as a neutral bystander, what's going on in that part of the world, and you may not like it, and the people that actually play for the Israeli national team might like it. Now, you need to be a grown-up and just accept that that's a thing that you have to be okay with, all right? People from a different part of the world having a different worldview to you on how they want to go about their own geopolitics. Oh, but they're killing people. Okay, that's what many nations have done over the course of history. Many nations have done things that have been arguably unjustified or justified or arguably ugly for a certain cause, which may or may not have been worth it. You never really know until time passes. And even then, it's never really clear. It's a matter of debate that is very hard to objectively, speak on with 100%, accuracy, I guess. I suppose you could report on basic facts, like this is a thing that happened on this day. And some people might argue it is objectively wrong to kill people. And it's like, yeah, but grow up. That's what are we doing here? We're talking about a conflict between two groups in a part of the world that is very small, and they're arguing about it, and they're doing whatever is within their means to pursue whatever they feel their goal is. Just, again, have an opinion about it. Take to the street if you'd like. Do whatever you'd like, or be quiet about it. By the way, that's a thing that you're not allowed to do now, apparently, according to some. If you stood by idly, your grandkids one day will look back and say, why did you say nothing when a thing was happening in a part of the world? And it's like, hey, man, hey, grandkids, what am I gonna do besides have an opinion? You want me to annoy everyone I know and piss off half the people in my network to take a stance that I think is right? Like, to what end? Like, seriously, to what end? It's like, grow up, understand that different governments have really malevolent, actors that run them, and they pursue goals that they see fit, and that's just how it is. And football is played, and you shut up about it, and we just play football. The referee blows. 90 minutes later, a team wins. That's it. That's all. Sometimes a team that you fucking hate wins. Sometimes the French national team wins a game, and that disgusts me because I hate the French. And it's not because, and I love the French in some ways individually, but also there's like a weird like tribal hatred that comes out where it's like, the fucking French, I hate everything they stand for. It's like a weird thing that I guess as a person of an Italian lineage, I just have. I don't know if it's like in my DNA or if it's learned, but when France wins, it just burns my ass. I want them to suffer football-wise. I want their fans to, experience hardship, and I don't know why that is. I don't think it's a nice thing, but it's how I just sort of naturally feel. You're allowed to feel that way. If you want to feel that way toward Israel and Israel loses a game, go jerk off about it, But to be like, hey, Russia's been banned, Israel should be banned from all competition as well. To what end? No. You don't understand. I would argue, let the Russians play. Let Russia play football. Why punish fucking footballers that have nothing to do? Like, literally, all these guys want to do is buy an AP and bust a nut in a fucking supermodel. That's all they want to do. Now, is that a noble? Some of them may be good guys. Some of them may not be, is the point. I think largely they have different concerns than their country's military campaign in a bordering state. By the way, I think a lot of the players might have opinions on it. In the case of Israel in particular, some of them might have even fucking served in the IDF. But, so what? Israel also has players that are of Palestinian descent that are choosing to play for Israel. By the way, I'm sure their parents don't even fucking like Hamas. If you're a Palestinian, if you're an Arab person who's Israeli, you live in the state of Israel, you're a good footballer, you want to play for, for that flag, it's probably because you're a fan of the fact that Israel has given, your family an opportunity to live in a relatively, Western sort of, I don't know, whatever, country. I'm having a brain fart. Because I'm just fucking, the neurons are firing in my brain here, and I'm having a fucking panic attack live in real time. Like I'm gonna be too, like I'm not gonna be, sensitive enough to the nuance of this whole situation. But like, there are Palestinians that I'm watching playing for the Israeli national team, which, by the way, they're Israeli. They're Israeli. They're represented by Benjamin Netanyahu, and they may very well hate him. They may very well have voted for him. You don't know. There's a good chance. Like, I would say there's a toss-up. I don't know what the fucking percentage of, Arabs in Israel have an opinion about, a Hamas that is negative. I would assume that it's a significant chunk, given the fact that a lot of Palestinians, I think, don't even like Hamas per se. They're just the entity that kind of governs, certainly Gaza. I don't know if they have a popular stronghold in the West Bank. I don't know what the popularity of Hamas is. I don't know if it's grown or shrunk in the last year, in light of things that have happened. But it's like, hey, look, Israel, whether you like it or not, has a military goal that they're pursuing, and grow up. They're pursuing the goal. Have an opinion of what you think about that goal. But don't turn to me and say, hey, Italian national team players, shame on you for not taking a stand during this game. Are you fucking kidding me? These are Italian footballers, okay? These are people who are so disconnected from anything going on in their own country, let alone things happening in the Middle East. Did you know? Are you fucking aware of how disconnected most Italian footballers are? I'm sure there's a couple of guys on the team that are good dudes, like Giacomo Raspadori, for example. Seems like a good egg, okay? He has a conservative haircut. He's 5'5" tall. I think he's been dating the same woman, since he was a teenager from his little town. I think they're having a baby together if they haven't yet. And when he scores goals, he smiles, and he has no tattoos. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he hates the Jews or the Palestinians. I don't think he has a nuanced take on it, to be honest. And that's fine. Let the guy just enjoy his daughter and eating truffle, Now, again, Giacomo Raspadori, good little egg. There are also guys on the team that, probably, that are, I guess I don't really know any of these guys. I don't know any of them personally, but I would assume, listen, it actually doesn't seem like a bad group of guys altogether. But let's take Sandro Tonali, for example, a guy who just came back from a lengthy ban of a year for match fixing, okay? Sandro Tonali's a 24-year-old millionaire from Italy, a country where there are tons of people in Italy that are young that can't get a job. They're happy to fucking get paid €1,000 a month. It's like $1,300 or $1,400 a month, all right? Tax evasion in Italy is through the fucking roof. The swaths of people in the country are completely disenfranchised. In the South, because of the fact that there isn't a lot of economic opportunity. In the North, because of the fact that, partially because of lack of economic opportunity, but to a lesser extent, it's actually large degree, I think, due to, being disenfranchised with, obviously not unanimously, but largely due to, new waves of migration that are coming in that, people are kind of unfamiliar with. Italy's not a country that's always, Italy sucked at colonization, so they didn't have people coming in from fucking Africa, like throughout the 20th century, like the French did, or like England did. So Italy just has, a weird relationship with like new foreigners. So in the north of Italy, a lot of people are deeply concerned about that. In the south of Italy, people are deeply concerned largely about lack of economic opportunity. fucking footballers who are, playing in England, who are just making so much money, they're able to fucking gamble and not even feel it. I don't think they're really going through, and it's, by the way, it's not to say that, him gambling, Tonali, makes him a bad guy, but it's just to say, I think the guy's living a pretty cushy life. He was playing as a pro footballer for AC Milan. He's playing for Milan for like a couple of years as a kid with an adult brain that's not fully developed yet, okay? And he's getting paid so much fucking money that he's just bored out of life. He's looking for weird dopamine hits. He's gambling. You think that guy's aware of what's going on in the world at large? Is it his responsibility to, actually, the economic situation in Italy is so fucking dire. And most of the footballers in Italy, I would argue, probably aren't even sensitive to that. Or maybe they're at least sensitive to the issue, but they're not really that well informed about it. They're not thinking about it all the time. They might have family members that I guess, are people from their fucking town that they see going through hardship. They're probably reminded about it all the time whenever, Christ, anytime they post anything, people comment on their video saying, oh, you're insensitive. I have nothing. I'm poor. It's like, all right. Sorry, I have good vision on the ball, and when I turn to receive the ball, I just see things like fucking Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover, like all these calculations that make me able to do things with a ball that are perceived to be magical, and I get paid a lot of money to do it. Hey, sorry. There's a guy that died, I think in Vicenza, in the northeast of Italy, like a week ago. I saw on the news. He's like a 29-year-old guy who died at a storefront called Technomat. It's like a fucking Home Depot. He got crushed. Schiacciato was the word that I like the focaccia that you have in Florence. They make a fucking schiacciata. They crush the fucking focaccia. I saw a headline. There was a kid who was, I'm sorry to laugh about this. There was a guy who was schiacciato, quote unquote, by a stack of windows at like a Home Depot equivalent, like some Italian Euro Home Depot storefront in Vicenza. He's dead. He died on the job. And that's a bleak way to go. And yet that guy, that dead 29-year-old, at least was better off than many other Italian kids his age who can't even get a fucking job. You should be so lucky to die on the job in Italy. I mean, if you have a fucking job to begin with, even if it's at fucking Home Depot, Technomat, whatever the fuck it's called, okay? This weird Balkan, I don't know. I think it's an Italian company that has like outposts in like Croatia, maybe like the odd like German, the odd German franchise storefront. But it's this weird, sad Italian, storefront that exists in industrialized, godless looking areas. Okay, like just parts of Italy that literally look. If you were just, those people that like get on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever, and they'll like look at a picture of Google Maps and they'll tell you exactly where it is in the world based on like a street sign. Okay, these storefronts, okay, for like these weird like hardware stores are located off of highways in Italy that if you saw a random picture of Google Maps, the best people in the world at identifying exactly what country in the world a certain picture from Google Maps is from would struggle to tell if it's in Romania, Bulgaria, Latvia, or fucking Italy. Like, it's that bleak. These are parts of Italy that look like Eastern Europe. They're not fun. And you gotta get in a fucking piece of shit Fiat Panda and drive down there to make €1,000 a month that you're gonna evade taxes on if you should be so lucky to find a way to do it. And hope to God that the Italian government, which is now finally trying to crack down on that shit, doesn't come after you. For engaging in this long-standing practice, this cultural heritage practice of evading taxes. You go to this fucking hardware store and you put on a uniform and you put on a name tag that says, "Ciao, sono Simone. I'm happy to help you." And this is not, you went to school, you're an engineer, but you're working at Technomat in Vicenza, off the highway. It looks like Romania, Bulgaria, Russia. You're not sure. The food isn't even that good up there. Everyone says that Italian food is great everywhere. Like, kind of, but not really. They just have boiled meat around that part of Italy. I think it's in Veneto. There's like this thing called bollito, which I would eat if it was offered to me. But it's like boiled like tongue with a mustard on it. It's boiled calf head with mustard on it. It's not great. Life isn't really all that superb. But you have people that studied law that are just dicking around, smoking cigarettes, going to a cafe, that just want to watch Italy play a football match without having their fucking one good thing that they find fun to watch. Just getting to feel like they're part of some weird, vague, historical, kind of made up nation that is Italy. I mean, it's only 150, 200 years old. It was a bunch of nation states, and then it got unified. Now we're kind of clinging to this weird arbitrary idea of like Italian patriotism and unity because, well, Sri Lankans are coming to Italy now, so watch out. Now we got to be a united front of Italians against them because, they don't look like us. So you want to just you just want to watch the game, all right? You're smoking cigarettes outside a cafe. You went to law school. You have no job. You're still living at home. You're 29 years old. And you think, well, I'm still alive, but I would have loved to have been one of those guys that dies, a shaheed, on the job, metaphorically. Died a shahada, whatever the fucking term is. I would have loved to have been a martyr for the pursuit of economic, not even prosperity, just basic upkeep, just basic economic upkeep. So I could buy a little bit of bread and pasta and acqualette. I would have loved to have been able to die on the job at a storefront, taking my Fiat Panda to this fucking weird equivalent of Home Depot, get crushed by a load of fucking windows. I'm 29 years old. I died on the job for medial money, but hey, I'm going straight to heaven because at least I was trying to be in it. I was in it. I was actually trying to work. I was trying to do more. I was able to do more than this other guy who fucking studied law and can't get a job. At least this other guy who fucking died had a job. This is Italy right now. There's a lot of people that aren't like blissfully unaware of just hit the fucking lampshade. There's a lot of people in Italy that play for the national team that are blissfully unaware of shit like that. They go through life loving it. Everything's fucking great. All right? You get blown by English girls who have nothing between their fucking ears. That's great. You get a fucking English girl with lip injections to blow you, and she has nothing to say. She has no opinions about the world. You got fucking people that are commenting, how dare you play Israel? How dare you play against them? Do you not know that they're committing genocide against the Palestinians? You should have taken a knee like the England national team players would have done. Because there's this weird thing in England where the English people kind of hold their players to like this weird high standard of like moral high ground where they have to take like the politically correct side of any social issue ever. You should have done what England did. You should have taken a knee instead of just playing a game, scoring a couple goals, going home, and going to bed to rejoin your fucking team and look forward to the next time that you get to put on the blue shirt. No, that's bad, actually. God forbid you just do that. And God for fucking bid, you just play for the Italian national team. You say, this is a dream of mine. I'm playing against fellow footballers. We're all from different parts of the world. The people that run us are all kind of evil. But hey, we're just representing the humble citizens of this country, most of whom in any country generally are just good people or have the potential to be good people. I'm just representing people that that come from the same places I come from. That's it. And just let him enjoy a fucking blowy from a Geordie lass with fake eyelashes and lip filler who has no opinions about anything. That's fucking ideal. When all this guy's been hearing for the past week, every time he fucking posts, grandi ragazzi, grandi, abbiamo fatto bene, we had a good game, woohoo, we beat them 4-1. Proud to be Italian. Everyone in the comments is fucking making it deeper than it is. Like, yeah, you did good. You did good killing off those genocidal maniacs. And it's like, fuck, one of the guys the guy who scored for them on their corner, the Israelis, on Columbus Day, no less. A little disrespectful, by the way. The Jews scored on us on Columbus Day. How dare they? Fuck. That's another fucking crazy thing, Columbus Day. Maybe we'll talk about that in a sec here. But the guy that scored for Israel is named, I think, Abu Fani. That sounds like a Jew to you? This is the fucking Arab guy who's playing for the Israeli national team. But yeah, okay. You killed those dogs. Good for you. That's what you're fucking reading in your comments on Instagram over the past week. You post twice. Each time, 75% of the comments are just fucking people saying you did good. You're a hero for taking down this evil state as we perceive it. It's like, hey man, you just probably want to go home and disconnect and just enjoy the catharsis of getting blown by a moron, You want Roger Waters. I want to pull this up here. saw Roger Waters tweeted something out. The guy from Pink Floyd, I think he was a singer or a guitarist. I think he was a lead singer of Pink Floyd. Posted this video of the the Israeli anthem being played. Roger Waters posted a video here of the Israeli national team's anthem getting played before the Italy-Israel game. Here's what he had to say. Get a load of this.
Shame. Shame on you, Italy. Do not play football against the Israelis. They are a pariah state. None of us must have anything to do with them until they rejoin the human race and accept the idea of universal human rights for all our brothers and sisters all over the world. And that would include all our brothers and sisters between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. I've got to turn this off now. I can't watch anymore.
The best part is, just as the Italian national team's anthem is about to come on, you hear the little trumpets in the background. He turns it off just before the best part, just before you kind of get to feel something again. He's just seething with rage. Just before you're about to regain hope in humanity, the most beautiful fucking national anthem in the world. It's about to come on, and you feel like, all right, I kind of understand why these motherfuckers would actually want to play football. With an anthem like that, you get to hear that in a stadium full of people, get fired up. You understand why they would want to play the Israelis. Like, yeah, okay. You think that Israel's a bad, I don't know, a bad thing. You think that Israel as a state is a bad thing. You wish that their football team didn't exist. You wish that their football team wasn't legitimized through competitive games. Well, then you hear the fucking Italian national team's anthem and you go, hell, me, not for nothing. If it means I get to play against a team of serial killers, if it means I get to go out to that anthem and then just get fired up and then go represent the fucking flag. So he fucked up on that. He shouldn't have fucking cut it out before the anthem. That's a big mistake. You never cut out the Italian national team's anthem. You always have to listen to that shit from front to back. I would actually argue that most people that are neutrals would just hear that anthem and then just go, well, I'm going to listen to this. It just kind of sucks you in. Like, that's how fucking crazy Roger Waters is right now. Is he heard the trumpet of the Italian national team's anthem at the end of that video, and he said, oh, yeah, I can't even go any further. I got to turn this off. That's unheard of. Any fucking sentient human being that hears goes, what the fuck is that? And then just gets sucked into it like a fucking moth to a flame. I love how he's going. By the way, I didn't even know this. I looked it up. Roger Waters is 80 years old. Okay, so when you get to that age, you're just crazy. You're crazy. If you're posting on social media at the age of 80, you're no longer coherent. You're no longer with us. Roger Waters, I don't know if it's through advanced age or through the drugs, he's no longer with us. He has departed this planet and he is no longer amongst us. And again, just the idea that this old guy, this old hippie from the 60s, would sit there and say, shame, do not play Israel ever. It's like, hey man, grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up. How about people don't play the United States ever again? What about when fucking the U.S. was bombarding Iraq and killing random civilians there because of the fact that they had oil and Saddam Hussein and this and that and 9/11 and all that good shit? Oh yeah, all right. No, listen, I'm not saying he was in favor of the war in Iraq. It's not really relevant. The point is, you let the fucking American national team play. You let the Americans play at the Olympics. You let the flag wave. It is what it is. We let the Nazis play in the fucking Olympics. We let the Nazis host the Olympics in 1936. Oh, that was bad. That was wrong. Was it? I'm not saying we should celebrate the fact that that Hitler got to, stand in a stadium and get a bunch of people saluting him. As if, it somehow like legitimized his regime. But like it's history. It's history playing out in real time. Like, yeah, there was a time when the Olympics were being held in Germany and the guy who was, ahead of the German state was evil. Now we look back on that and say, all right, yeah, that's an artifact. It's a historical artifact. It's not, in real time, we're not really like casting judgment on our fellow states. And I guess we kind of are, like through embargoes and through, diplomatic action and so on. But there's, it's kind of only through the retrospective lens of hindsight that you're able to look back on whether something was weird at the time. Now, again, I get that you could watch what's going on in the world with more ease than ever before because of the internet now. So it's not pleasant to see people dying in foreign conflicts. It's not pleasant to see, but you have to understand something, okay? And it's not to say that it's always been right, okay? It's not to say that this has always been going on and we're only seeing it now for the first time. There was never anything wrong with it ever. I would argue that there were probably, malevolent things that happened in the past. Armies were used to commit heinous, horrific, barbaric, campaigns in the past. But shit like this is not new. To say that, Israel is some newfound level of evil that has never existed before is naive. Countries have always been led by groups of people who have pursued whatever they subjectively perceive to be the best interest of that country. Yeah, all right. Netanyahu's probably not a great guy. He's probably deeply motivated by self-interest and his role in history, and he wants to be the guy that secured the border, okay? Because not for nothing, whatever the cause might have been, let's not get into how this started, whose fault it is. Just if Israel didn't have, the Iron Dome and they didn't have defense capabilities, they wouldn't exist, okay? The Arabs would have wiped them out. The exact reason for that does not matter. The fact of the matter is, if Hamas had the ability to wipe Israel out, if Hamas had all the, the military capability and funding and backing that Israel has, and Israel had, the defense capabilities or lack thereof that Hamas had, which is basically, I think Hamas's fucking defense capabilities is just going on the run, basically hiding, kind of. It's in a weird game of cat and mouse. If the roles were reversed, Israel would probably not exist. Israel would have probably been eviscerated off the face of the earth, is what I think. Now, again, that's just is Hamas doing that a good thing? Is that the best way of approaching it? I don't think the Dalai Lama would really approve of that. He'd probably, preach a more, stoic approach. Say, hey, be accepting. Don't kill people. But, it's human nature. People band together. They elect or are taken over by groups. Those groups are led by people who do whatever they can to go about whatever they perceive to be the thing that enables their constituents, arguably, to have the best outcome. So, is it nice that Hamas would kill all Israelis and all Jews if given the chance? No, it's not. But it's it's what Hamas is gonna do. Is it nice that Israel is trying to fucking smoke out Hamas and is killing people in the process? No, it's not fun to see. It's not nice to watch these videos. It's not nice to watch videos of people dying. Whether these are good people or not. Let's play a game here. All right, mental exercise. Let's say that the people that are being burned alive in a given video are say they're evil, say they're child fuckers, let's say they're pedophiles. I know it's a crazy hypothetical, but let's just say they're some of the worst people alive. Okay, it's not fun. It's no more fun to see people wreathe and squirm without knowing who this person is. Now, conversely, if this person is an angel who was a nurse and took care of everyone around them, and you see them burning alive, it still is equally uncomfortable to watch. But we've always, I guess we've always kind of known that shit like that happens in the world. It's just because we now have the internet, we're watching it, and now it makes us uncomfortable. So now we have, people have the ability to say, oh, well, you saw it and you did nothing about it. It's I'm kind of impervious. I'm kind of impervious to suffering because I know what goes on in the world. Militaries, okay, led by governments, pursue campaigns. They follow orders. It's just what it is. Collateral damage occurs. Football is still played. Can we just keep it out of fucking football? Is that too much to ask for? No, it's not. It's not possible. Can't do it. What you don't understand is Israel's a pariah. Oh, shut up. Fuck. Fucking shut up and watch. Then enjoy watching their team lose 4-1. Giovanni Di Lorenzo, a guy who everyone in Italy has fucking flamed for the past 4 months, scored 2 goals against them. Enjoy that. The guy who everyone thought was the biggest liability in the Italian national team for like the past 6 months scored 2 goals against Israel. If you hate Israel, take solace in that. Enjoy. Auguri. There you fucking go. But then to be like, oh, you know, it was very strange. I was in the stadium and people stood up and applauded the Israeli national anthem after it was played. That was very disappointing. It's like, yeah, it's called decorum. It's called fucking class. Yeah, right. National team's anthem is played. You know, the players on the field just want to. They have families. They just want to play football. You know, there's people in the stadium that have like fucking Israel flags. Literally, bro, in the Roger Waters video, there's a fucking Roger Waters is saying shame, shame. There's people in the fucking audience, in the fucking crowd, that have an Israel flag with like a peace banner through it. Hey, let's end the war. Let's end the suffering. It's like, yeah, all right. That's an idea that I think we could all universally get behind. Roger Waters, shame. Shame on you, Italy, for playing them. It's like, bro, the Italian people are not going to be the fucking... Italian people right now, bro, in Italy, we've already unpacked, all right? If you work at Technomat and you die, you're living pretty good. That's like best case scenario for you, is you die on the job at fucking Italian Home Depot. Italians abroad, fucking Columbus Day this week, they're celebrating. Like the priorities of Italian people are very much not in line with whatever thing, you know, you care about the most at the moment. You're not going to get people to care, you know, across the scale to the point that, you know, or across the board to the point that you're going to get, you know, the Italian national team to not play a game of football against a team that you perceive to be made up of players from a state that you don't like. It's like, instead of being like, hey, we should ban Israel from, you know, footballing competition, it's like, hey, how about we let Russia play again? Just because fuck it. Because fuck it. What the leader of the country does, okay, isn't a reflection of the football team itself. We let North Korea play football. Are we fans of how Kim Jong-un treats his, you know, his people? Well, no, we don't give a shit about that because he's treating his own people like shit, you see. He's not leading a campaign against people in another country. He's keeping the evil in-house, so that's okay. We're all right with that. It's like instead of passing arbitrary decisions on who to include and who not to include, just include every country. Just include every fucking country. You're not going to agree with what every country does, okay? So just let them all play. Let them all play and let them all represent whatever values their people have. Whatever values their people have. If you have a country made up of people that want to do another Holocaust and kill all the Jews on earth, let them play and just and if Israel should ever be so lucky to play against them and beat them, let the Jews who are happy that Israel is winning a game of football against a group of anti-Semites, let them basket it. If you hate Israel and you're an Italian person and this fucking game has a little extra for you because you just particularly enjoy watching Israeli people lose, you know, and having a camera pan to an Israeli guy in the stands be sad, enjoy the boner, enjoy the hard-on, you know? I realize we've talked like zero about the game, which is crazy. I don't even know if any of this fucking pod is usable. This feels like this is completely like behind a paywall Patreon type of thing that we're just putting out to the world. But like, I don't know, bro. Columbus Day was the other day in the United States. Apparently there's this thing now called Italian American Heritage Month. They had a bunch of like content creators go to the White House the other day. Joe Biden's living large, man. Joe Biden doesn't have to run for the fucking election anymore. He's deferred that responsibility to Harris. He's in office for another couple of months. He doesn't give a fuck, you know? He's fucking having dinner with Meals by Cooge. Like, you know? How the fuck Meals by Cooge, how Danny Bordello, Meals by Cooge, got invited to the White House is beyond me. I don't know how he's the best custodian of Italian values that we have in the United States anymore. But also, he's not hurting anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe we should all just like unite around Cooge. Cooge could bring this fucking country together. Honest to God, there's a lot of Italian Americans that you watch and you go, oh my God, this is fucking, like this is a lot, like fucking, you know, guys going to Yankee games just being loud and that's their shtick. It's like, oh, what's going on? The fucking Yankees. Yeah, I'm Italian. It's like, holy fuck. Can we just, like, it's like, yeah, you're stupid, obviously, but people, like, the more disappointing thing is that people are actually watching you and enjoying you. So maybe you're kind of like who we deserve, you know? Maybe you're kind of who we deserve as a people. But then there are also a bunch of like other Italian people that watch like fucking, you know, a retarded loudmouth like go to a sport game and just be like, oh, how you doing? Let's have a meatball. And they're kind of ashamed. I feel like everyone kind of loves Cooge. Cooge coming in a frame in his parents' kitchen, just fucking making a sandwich going, take care of yourself. Have a DC. Have a Diet Coke. Brush your hair. It's like, hey, no one's mad at that. He's not hurting anyone. He's not upsetting anyone. Because it's not, you know, the shit. Because I think he understands that the shtick is kind of like like retarded. That's what makes it fun. And you know, and it's so easy. It's so easy when you watch like Italian American content creators go to like the White House and be like, man, like, this is what it's come to. This is what it's fucking come to. We had Italian people come here and like work like union jobs and, you know, again, have to like, you know, establish themselves in a new country and, you know, many of them were able to go to school and get educated and, you know, become tax-paying, contributing members of society. You know, they studied law and, you know, they're fucking doctors, like Dr. Fauci. Again, you know, but to just go from like, you know, to have such a long story, it's almost like what's happened with Italian Americans now is like, they've been in Italy, they've been in America for so fucking long that it's like not even impressive anymore that they like are doctors. So we just have to kind of, I don't know, when we think of Italians anymore who are like successful, we just got to think of, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like any other American that's successful. It's just a guy that's hacked the fucking algo. A guy that's hacked the algo to fucking get eyeballs of other, you know, of other stupid dagos. That's kind of like who the ambassadors to the Italian community are now at the White House. Hey, we like your content. Come to the White House. Sit down and hear fucking Joe Biden speak. Biden was just in a fucking he was on a conference call. He was on a conference call calling Bibi Netanyahu a bad fucking guy. This is having nightmares. He's fucking demented, 85 years old. Just thinking about like thinking about all the blood he has on his hands over the past 4 years. Now he's got to turn it on for Meals by Cooge and be like, "Hey, how you doing? Yeah, fucking, you know, Italian people, yeah. You guys are kind of monkeys, but you know, it's like I like you. You guys are funny. You guys are funny, man. You guys are funny. Yeah, make me a baked clam, man." It's like it's very odd. You would hope that the president, speaking of like, you know, when speaking of the most, you know, the most fitting ambassadors of the, Italian community, would be talking about, you know, you know, I don't know, you'd be talking about trade with Italy and how, you know, it's very important that we establish a good rapport with, you know, the place where your families are all from originally and fucking so on and so forth. And, you know, we're very proud of what you guys have achieved. And instead, the fucking speech on the White House's website, Jill Biden starts talking about how growing up she had Italian grandparents and she remembered fucking garlic and sauce bubbling, and everyone there in the room was like, yeah. I mean, you see that? Yeah, that is us. Jesus Christ! Like instead of being like, yeah, We're proud of what we've done. We're proud of the fact that we've kind of broken out of stereotypes. Now let's just lean into them. Let's be loud. Let's fucking talk about cooking. And that's it. That's just what Italian identity is. Oh, happy Columbus Day. A day that we just sort of claimed. The guy that discovered this country was born in Genova, a city you couldn't point out on a map. Congratulations. Let's go dunk on Native Americans now and say, you lost the war. That's a thing. That's a thing I would see. That's the thing I saw all over social media on Columbus Day. There's a bunch of people like, you fucking lost. You lost. Bow down. This isn't a day of resistance. Because I think like indigenous people are now like trying to claim that like Columbus Day is called Indigenous Day of Resistance or whatever. And they're like, yeah, you did a shit job of resisting. We fucking shoved this fucking sausage down your throat. It's like, what a crazy, like in your face way to rub in the fact that a guy from the country where your family's from started, I guess, a campaign to, I don't know, assimilate you guys into our culture in, often violent ways. But it's like, hey, you're not wrong. It's like, that's always a fun one for me. Is when I see people be like, listen, would you prefer to have stayed savages who were killing each other and cutting each other's heads off and fucking sacrificing each other to the gods and at war with each other constantly? Now you could read. Thanks to us. Now you guys could be as refined as we are. Oh, how you doing? Tomato sauce, Yankees. We're refined. It's you know what? It's like it's like indigenous people now. Yeah. I guess they could do arithmetic, and most of them have learned algebra in school. Shit that I guess was brought over by European settlers. So they've kind of gone one way in terms of coming closer, to the mean, of if you're going to find a balance of where, ancestrally, the indigenous people used to be and how they used to act compared to like, where Europeans at the time kind of were at, and the vast differences in culture and so on. Well, it's like, yeah, all right, the indigenous have kind of moved a little closer toward wherever the European Westerners were on the map, and then it's like, hey, a lot of the Westerners that fucking came and moved here, all like a lot of the people from Italy have become savages now. We're just like, yeah, food. So perfect. We've kind of like found a happy medium, Italians have become more savage. And the savage, the historical, the people that you would consider to be the savages, the fucking indigenous, they become more civilized. Great, beautiful. Great. They don't cut people's heads off anymore now. And Italians, anytime you say that you say you're not Italian enough, you don't speak Italian, they become savage and they go, I'll fucking kill you. So perfect. It feels really stupid to talk about the actual game now. I mean, just after all that, that complete. This might be the best. This may legit, bro. This could have been the best or worst pod we've ever fucking done. Said everything and nothing. Without saying a damn thing. Without fucking saying anything cutting while saying too much simultaneously. It's like I don't even know, man. That's a weird one. I've not been looking forward to having to fucking come out and talk about this game, man. Just because, like, so much surrounding the game was like this idea that Italy shouldn't have played in the game because they should have taken the moral high ground and boycotted it. It's like, fuck, you think this is bad? Just wait till Israel goes to Paris in a week. You think the security measures in Udine were weird? Apparently there were like snipers on the roof in Udine during this game, and ticket sales were low because of the fact that there were like heightened security measures. You think that's bad, bro? Wait till fucking Israel goes to play in Paris. That's going to make fucking what happened the other day in Udine look like a children's coloring book, okay, compared to like a Goya painting, all right, in terms of the level of sophistication that's going to be required to keep that place secured. Literally, bro, half the people that are at that game 10 years ago, before the current conflict arose, they would have, if polled privately, they would have told you that the Jews are like the biggest stain on the world. Like before it was kind of socially acceptable to do so because now we have cameras, and drone footage of the Israeli military like killing people in Gaza. Before it was like socially acceptable to kind of say, hey, not for nothing. It looks like they're causing a real issue over there. These people were still fucking on board with the idea that, maybe they'd be better if there were less Jews. Just wait until those people go to fucking whatever it is, Stade de France for that game. I love how everyone in Italy was like, the security measures were kind of fucked up. A lot of people boycotted this game in Udine. Look at all the empty seats. It's like, bro, have you ever fucking watched an Udinese game? All right, in that fucking piece of shit stadium? And I know it's new, but it's a piece of shit with the fucking mosaic, weird, like multicolored. I tell you why it's a piece of shit. Not because it's bad. I know it's a relatively new stadium, but it looks like ass with the mosaic. But it's also the fact that like no one goes to watch football there. It's like a fucking 25,000 seater stadium, and it's always half empty. It feels like. Does anyone go to fucking watch these games? This is the north of Italy. It's like it's supposed to be the most like fucking prosperous area in the country. Fucking Friuli, Venezia, Giulia, and no one's going to watch those games. Everyone's like, oh, you see, the Italian people are taking a stand against Israel. It's like, no. People just don't go to watch. People never fill that stadium. And the bureaucracy in Italy is like ridiculously difficult to overcome. When like the red tape that is required when you want to go through like when you have to buy tickets that have like a level of security is unheard of. Talked about this in like we talked about this like a couple of months ago. We talked about it a couple of years ago, 2 years ago to be precise. But we re-uploaded that episode called Giro d'Italia a couple of months ago. If you go back to that episode and you listen to like me talking about buying tickets to like a Lazio Napoli game in Rome where there were like enhanced security measures because it was like an interregional game, like that was almost impossible to overcome. Like people that run stadiums and ticketing services in Italy have a hard time like making it easy for people to buy tickets. So it's not a real shock there. But I actually think it's really stupid that the Italian national team doesn't always just play in the same stadium. It's so fucking stupid how they just go on this like weird tour of the country all the time. Some people find it endearing because it allows people all over the place to watch this, to watch the team come to their town. But it's like, bro, Italy's a small ass country. And I know that people aren't like that affluent there. Not everyone's able to travel all the time, but it's like, fuck, enough people are able to travel that you could go to the capital. All right. You could travel 5 hours on that ritorno, fucking, 8 hours from most corners of the country to go watch a game. Like it's not that crazy an idea. Every other country does this, bro. I don't know if the Germans do, but I know that, I mean, obviously, like if you could foster like a Wembley type vibe or like what France had with Stade de France, build like a culture around going to watch the team play in like one stadium. They have a home ground. Maybe they would actually have an easier time fucking qualifying, to kind of have like a base that's familiar to the players who can come, as they come into the team. It becomes, all right, it's the first time I'm playing in our home stadium. It's the second time I'm playing in the home stadium. Oh, I've been playing in the home stadium for 4 years now. Fucking inshallah. Daniel Maldini made his debut the other day. Daniel Maldini looked pretty good in his debut. Not for nothing. There's a weird thing now where, anytime he plays, people are going to, just have a hard on because of who his father was and because of who his grandfather was, but especially because of who his father was. After the game, I saw they called it a dynasty, spelt in English on Italian TV, but they misspelled dynasty. They spelled it D-I-N-Y. No, I think they spelled it D-I-N-I. No, D-I-N-A-S-T-Y. D-I-N-A-S-T-Y. Dynasty. But like, anytime that kid plays now, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him. But it's like eventually, you'd hope he fucking could settle in. He looked pretty good on the debut. But imagine if he could have just come into like a stadium that he'll be going to for years. Every time he has to play a game for Italy. He's like, all right, this is my first time playing specifically at insert stadium name. God, maybe we build one. How about that? How about we have one just assigned, not the Stadio Olimpico, this whole fucking ground with like a, that they can never sell out with like a track in it. No, just make it a 50,000 seater, modern style. Give them the permit. Just give them the permit. Who gives a fuck? Give them the pick a spot anywhere in the fucking country. Literally, bro. Plot of land in the hills. Build it and they will come. Make it near Coverciano. Make it near Florence for all for near where the fucking training ground is. Like that's a place that's become the base that, the team plays out of for, or trains out of, It's where they have the coaching program and so on. It's like build a stadium nearby there. Build a stadium nearby. You make it, put it in the Florentine countryside and
just make it like a pilgrimage. Make of it like a Mecca within Italian football where, all right, like this is where we play. Build a culture around it. That would be nice. It'll never happen as long as we play. But it's like, why the fuck do we have to go play in Udine? Why do we have to go play in Udine? Just make it a thing where it's like, all right, we have our own procedures. We don't have to, like, any time a country with, like, a weird thing going on in the world comes by, we have increased security measures and we know exactly what to do. We've done it many times. Instead of having to, like, just, you know, I don't know, send the National Guard in or send the National Police Force into, like, some fucking small city. It's very odd. But look, like, okay, just, like, raw thoughts on the game before we wrap here. Like, Retegui, I think, could be a top forward in Europe. He has a lot of poise. The penalty he took was really impressive. And I like the way he played off of Giacomo Raspadori. I would not have taken Retegui off at all, but, you know, eventually, like, when we started running away with the game, once we, when we were able to right the ship after going down initially, after Israel pegged back a goal and we were only up 2-1, it looked like we weren't going to be able to give a debut to a couple of the guys that were on the bench that you would have hoped might have been able to get the first minutes in the legs, become cap-tied. But then, you know, when we started running away with it, I think it was good that we were able to take him off, put Lorenzo Luca on, who I don't, you know, it's hard to see what his upside will, it's hard to know what his upside will be. I actually don't think he's going to be a guy that ever winds up playing with the Italian national team long term, but he's got a good haircut. So, you know, you never know. Like that's like the first step. He's got to look the part. He's got to not actively upset people. He's got to look like a guy that people want to see play for us. It was good that, you know, we were able to give him a debut, but like Fagioli, Nicolò Fagioli has not looked good for Italy. A couple times he's been given an opportunity to kind of take the reins and dictate the pace of the midfield. He's been nowhere near what Samuele Ricci's been able to do the past couple of months. When he came on at halftime, Ricci looked way more assured on the ball than Fagioli. Fagioli's looked pretty good at Juve this season. I mean, he's had a couple of strong games, especially against Leipzig. But I think he'll continue to get called up, but I do wonder if we're going to start seeing like other guys get opportunities, like maybe like he plays a little further up like the pitch, but maybe like a Tommaso Baldanzi. Again, he's not really around. He's not really been included in the picture, but I wonder if a guy who plays every game for Lazio, like Rovella, I think Nicolò Rovella plays most minutes for Lazio. Like it'd be interesting to see if we can get other new faces in, you know, instead of Fagioli. It's not necessarily what I'm advocating for, but I wonder if it would happen at any point and if it might make sense, because I don't know, he just hasn't really grabbed the fucking bull by the horns, and I don't know if he's able to give Spalletti what he wants. And if, you know, a guy doesn't give Spalletti what he wants, he cuts them. All right, that's what happened with Locatelli. So we'll see. I mean, otherwise, you know, like Vicario finally made his debut, which is cool for him. But yeah, just a couple of good debuts here, right? Maldini, Vicario, and Luca. You know, Vicario's probably not going to play again until or unless there's an injury, but it's good that he's, you know, finally got the first actual game under his belt. But I do think that a more interesting guy that we're going to have to, like the most interesting guy I think in this game that came in that made his debut is definitely Daniel Maldini, who was involved in the build-up to one of the goals. Would like to see more of him. And I think he seems kind of poised to like go to a big club. He seems like he'll probably wind up going back to Milan, to be honest. I think they have a buyback clause of some kind, or a priority clause where they can match any offer that's given to Monza. So, yeah, man, look, I mean, on the field, like pretty positive overall. Really fucking weird week off the field. By the way, it was completely off my radar. It was completely off my radar until like after the game happened, and I was like, oh my God, everyone's pissed about this. Like people are actually being that gay about it. Like people are being like, Israel, shouldn't have done that. It's like, bro, fucking shut up, man. Shut the fuck up. This is a national team that plays for a country. That's it. End of. You don't like the country? All right, eat shit. You know? I'm not a fan of Zimbabwe either, you know? I'm not a fan of the government of Zimbabwe either with their fucking one-party system. But like also, the Zimbabwe government, I think, it's a crazy tangent to go off on here. But I actually think that the guy who runs Zimbabwe once said, yeah, no, I'm not going to step down until or unless I have assurance that like we're going to keep American influence from ever, you know, taking over my country. Like it's pretty fair. Like it's actually pretty fair. He's like, no, I'm going to stay involved as long as I can, because if we let, you know,
if we let the people decide who comes to power every couple of years, then we're susceptible to foreign influence. If it's me, we're not. It's like, all right, that's what you want to pursue. I get it. You think it's in the best interest of your people, and optically it doesn't look great from afar. It's like, all right, well, fine. It's like, yeah, I don't think Netanyahu's a great guy, but I understand why he's doing what he's doing. He doesn't give a shit about anything other than just making it such that like the biggest threat to his constituents is eliminated. He's going about it in a very ruthless way. Sorry, let them play football. There's fucking guys that are like literally Palestinian on that team. Chill the fuck out, bro. Okay, this is maybe the least funny episode we've ever fucking done. I don't know. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If not, I don't know. We'll get him next time, kid. Much love. Thank you. Ciao.